Hey, Broken Salespeople. So today we are going to be talking about the breakdown between marketing and sales and how we actually fix it. That's this episode of the Broken Salespeople podcast. Hey, Broken Salespeople. Welcome to the workshop. My name is Red Staffstrom, and today we are here to help you fix your broken sales skills and marketing skills today. See, because I want to talk about how sales and marketing got to be on such different sides of the same coin, how they started fighting and infighting between one another, and how we start fixing this, and how we can start seeing things from each other's side to make a more empathetic, understanding, and ultimately fruitful relationship between all of us. Because as salespeople, we are under a lot of pressure, and it's very difficult to always understand and take the time to look at the pressure our coworkers are under if they aren't in the sales world. So I want to kind of explain the changes that have happened in marketing, what they're going through, why it's affecting you, and how we fix it all to make it easier for everybody so that everybody feels like they are on the same team. So first, how did we get here? Why is there such a disconnect between marketing and sales? Well, long story short, it's because we have siloed our industries, and we have had a number of toxic ideas take hold over the last half century or so. And I know me screaming about toxic workplaces and bad management, it's kind of like McCarthy screaming about communism, but it doesn't make it any less true. But let's kind of look at the last 70 years or so in marketing. Let's just look at that so that you can understand what they're going through from a more macro level. Obviously, most of you guys who are listening to this are salespeople. But let's talk about the marketing side for a minute. Let's talk about the late 20th century, say 1950 to the year 2000. What was marketing like? You'd create an ad and you'd put it in a newspaper. You'd put it in a magazine. You would create a TV commercial or an infomercial. You would send out junk mail. What's the click-through rate of junk mail? How many impressions does a TV commercial get? What's the landing page conversion rate of a magazine ad? You see the problem? You see how quickly it is to understand the drastic changes that marketing has had to go through in the last 15 years. Marketing is blown up in a way that we could have never expected 20 years ago. And they are in this middle of this revolution that is changing on a near daily basis. I want you to stop looking at marketing as creative or lead creation or anything else and look at it like an arms race. Because what happens is marketers figure out a strategy and then social media changes it. And then marketers figure out the new strategy and social media and tech companies change it. And they figure out a new strategy and they change it. So it's this arms race of constant escalation that goes nowhere. You could think about this happening with the Facebook changes that happened in August of 19, I believe, where they no longer allowed real estate ads or credit ads to target zip codes or anything smaller than a 15-mile radius. You can look at the Google slap, where they changed the way their algorithm works completely pretty much overnight and changed everybody's SEO ratings. These are the kinds of things that marketers are now dealing with. They are seeing this landscape shift underneath their feet. And worse than that, now their managers have KPIs. Yeah. So you being a salesperson, you know what that means. You know that click-through rate is now something that's not being managed, being observed, and people are being fired for. The same way your KPIs are. If your KPIs fall off, you understand there's a good chance you might lose your job. They're just starting to realize that. This is a new world of micromanaging on a management level that they haven't experienced before. You have. You as a salesperson understands what that's like. You have gotten used to that pressure. They're just kind of starting to get there. So what does this pressure do? Well, this pressure keeps pushing for more and more and more and more, the way it always does, and the way it's happened to you before. Obviously, if you have managers who are constantly screaming for more deals, more deals, more deals, you might let a deal go through that isn't perfect, right? You might sign somebody who may not be the ideal candidate, that they may not fit your ideal customer profile. What makes you think marketing's any different? See, we could complain about marketing qualified leads being substandard, but they are being pushed towards higher and higher quantities, and the only way they can sustain themselves is by lowering the quality. It's almost like a DJ slider. You could either go quality or you could go quantity, but it's difficult to do both when you're being micromanaged down to minute KPIs. So while sales has become used to being under this kind of pressure, marketing is just starting to see it. It's something that's really started to happen in that world really over the last 10 to 15 years. A constantly changing landscape with new platforms, new technology, new words, constantly shifting keywords, and I can't help but empathize with them. See, us as salespeople, human beings are pretty stagnant. There haven't been a ton of major revolutions in sales over the last 40 years or so. It's been pretty much understand the person, get along with them, offer them solutions, and get them to agree that your solution is the right one. It's been pretty stagnant. We don't have to deal with evolving platforms the same way that marketing does now. So now you have people to the left of you and to the right of you who are both being put under this immense pressure, that they are having constantly ratcheted up demands being placed on them, and you're getting upset with each other. You put two people under pressure for too long, they're eventually going to start yelling at each other rather than looking up and seeing who's putting the lid down. So how do we start fixing this? Well, the first thing is empathy. Understand what's going on with marketing, what they're doing, what their goals are, and how you can help them. You guys are trying to do the same thing. You are trying to persuade people to buy a product. It's just a matter of technique that's different. That's it. I do construction and I do woodworking. There are a bunch of tools that I know as a construction person, somebody who works on and repairs houses, and a bunch of skills that I know for woodworking, and they don't overlap all the time. When I'm doing construction, I understand how to frame a house, how to build a header, how to put a footer down, all of these different things. I know studs have to be placed 16-inch on center. When I'm doing woodworking, I understand dovetail joints, I understand mortise and tenon, I understand all of these different glue up options that I don't have to think of in the construction world. Likewise, when I do like construction, this tape measure is good enough. But this tape measure isn't good enough for woodworking, because when you look at it, there's that little bit of give. You see that? That 16th of an inch is way too much of a tolerance for woodworking. It's fine for doing construction and laying out studs, but that little wiggle can make sure that a box doesn't close the right way, that a cabinet doesn't work, that everything is set wrong. That's the difference between sales and marketing. That tolerance. See, it's great. Marketing is great at building giant things and drawing a lot of attention in. They're great at framing a house. But us as salespeople, we need to focus on fine detailers. We need to tailor these solutions to individual people. And the tolerances for salespeople versus marketers are completely different. I know woodworkers who operate at thousandths of an inch tolerance when they are building things. Thousandths of an inch, 0.001. That's not where contractors are. Contractors, if they hit a 16th of an inch, they're pretty spot on. People who do set design, set building, quarter of an inch probably. You guys are still building. You guys are still making sawdust. But the skill set, the technique is different. understanding that common ground, and understanding that both of you guys are in the persuasion business. Both of you guys are here to solve problems for potential customers and convince people that you have the right solution is the key to everything. Understanding we are on the same team. So how do you get on the same team? How do you help each other speak the same language? You do it with the way every community comes together. You tell stories. I want you to start putting something together. I don't care if it's a mass email, a Facebook group, a Slack channel, whatever it is, but I want you to start sharing customer success and customer failure stories over and over and over again. Everybody should know the big wins and big losses that a company is going through, because that's going to bring the team together. Also, that is the best fodder for marketing ever. If marketing doesn't have an emotionally relevant story to use in their marketing, guess what they're going to do? Feature advantage benefit. They're going to put out statistics. We are 8% more efficient than. We are the #1 company that does. Yeah, it all sounds great, but none of those sell. None of those have the emotional impact that the stories you already have locked and loaded from your customers. By sharing those things, you guys can find that common ground and build something absolutely remarkable together. You can help them get away from the drudgery of KPI harvesting and help them build something spectacular. Anyway, once again, my name is Red Staffstrom. If you like this, please like, subscribe, follow me here, follow me on LinkedIn, all the usual channels, TikTok, Insta. Go to brokensalespeople.com. But most of all, like and subscribe here. That's the biggest help right now. Until next time, please go fix yourself.